Yeah, mic check 1 2. You know what time it is. Madism Sports, Madism TV. We back in the building for another hot week. You know, things have changed in this short week that we've been in from last week to this week. The boy Hakim turned a year older. Just let you know. You know what I'm saying? That's a week, a year. How when you turn 52?
Who, me?
Wes? Yeah, you Wes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 52 is June.
June?
Yeah,
Okay.
June 26th.
So I got basically 5 months of 5 months more of experience than you do on these sports topics. So stay in your place, youngin. This is Hakim Green. I'm here with my co-host Wes Henderson, Madism Sports on Madism TV. And I'm just joking, shits and giggles. That's how we do.
Absolutely.
I know my boy Wes probably got like a catalog of material waiting to unleash on me.
Nah, I'm gonna be nice, man. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna wish you a happy birthday again, and happy anniversary. That's an easy way out to do it. You do it on your birthday. You don't never got to remember but one day, and you still win. So congratulations on that.
But real talk, I got married on my birthday because that was my birthday gift to myself.
Absolutely. Not mad at you, man.
You didn't see the wink. Nah,
yeah, I'm not mad at you.
That's real
I know
talk.
She got to be close. She got to be close by. That's the right answer.
Exactly. Nah, but real talk. You've known me like for a lifetime, and it took me forever and a day to find the real one. So once the real one came, I owed it to myself to do the right thing, and that was my birthday gift, a true birthday gift to myself. So big shout out to my wife, Jasmine Nunez Green, for agreeing to put up with my bullshit. But yeah, yesterday was my birthday and my 4-year wedding anniversary to my beautiful wife. So thank you, Wes, for the salutations. But yeah, we inching up on the Super Bowl. So we got a lot of material to cover in regards to the Super Bowl on Sunday. We also want to talk about, black coaches, some of the exceptional black coaches throughout the history, and try to, come to an understanding of why we don't see more of that. Of course, Cliffy's going to be in the building later on talking about the, the spreads and the handicap. And we're going to get into all that stuff. But yeah, just tune in. Madism Sports, Madism TV. You know how we do. We set it off with a little Madism to start the show while me and Wes get in the building and invite people. Going to, encourage all the folks out there in the comment section to invite, like, subscribe, share. Let's get some people involved in the conversation. And we're going to be right back. Outspoken, I see you, Ma. I see you, always showing love, always supporting, and we appreciate you for that.
Yes, we're gonna
get into a little What is Madism featuring KRS and General Steel, produced by Breakbeat Lou, the legend. Video by Turtle Gang Entertainment. And boom.
Culturally, there has been a war waged against cannabis. Culturally, we dealt with different herbs, different plants, different foods that have over time become illegal.
When you invade a place for its resources, you wipe out the indigenous population. Right now, we are being colonized.
Today, we're going to meet several people who are former employees of our United States government. People who have looked at this over the years and will say, whether it was a conspiracy or not, they don't want to talk about it. But did the CIA know the drugs are coming into the United States of America and helping get here? The answer to the question is yes. Tell them how we do it.
Man means a lot. It's a means of pop. We gon' keep it moving, means we won't ever stop. Mary J. Reaper, weed, ganja, cannabis sativa, turned from marijuana. Smoked by the earliest man with no trauma. Smoked by the lawyers and judges, yes, your honor. Smoked by the Hindus and ancient Dalai Lamas. Smoked by the popes and early church fathers. Before the crack got them, before the crack gets them. The herb was the word, the man you laugh with them. Spark mad 85, damn, crack in them. Whole neighborhoods, damn, that did them. The worst that got hit for real was black women. So the slip of the joint, the people got back with them. It was backism versus crackism. The crackism lost the war to black wisdom. When the black wisdom returned to burning-ism, black men and women were living in bad prisons. So when it comes to legalization, what's your position? Was the crack. Night living bass heads, we said crack was whack. In the jungle with my brothers, found out black was black. 95 madism, no Christmas. Pass that back, got 5 on the 20. You can pass that hat if you ain't got no money. Can you at least cash that rat? I'll be in the maze like days when I hear him with some haze. That's some graze and blaze of a burn. I'm down by law, in fact, 885. So I've always got the instant attack. Channel live, let me light you fire. It's industrial pimp. Feel like a slave from industrial hemp. Let's pass the system, crash on classism. The war on drugs and fight back with madism. People, what I know, you reap what you sow. So when you plant the ism, you can keep what you grow. It gets deep with no snow. Just say no to the coke boy and yes to the dro. 17 a pound, let's get that dough. Get mad with the ism fire up and let it glow. Like the tetrahydrocannabinol, live fire, saliva, lava, stamina strong, hard balls, yard and jaws, hammer and palm, sniffing Weston on the handle if the cannons involved. I'm a fucking rude boy, manners is gone, spark a ball, fuck the law, I don't care what they saw. Smoke some ganja with Obama, pass Kush the Bush, hit a split for Bill Clinton while listening to Sam Cooke. Look. The war on drugs was really designed to lock more poor folks up. Over policies and fallacies, I'm speaking to the leaders. I ask you what's the real crime, keeping it sense of me. Brothers congregate on corners, catching misdemeanors. Politicians profit, pushing pills to kids and seniors. Man, I'm a dreamer just like King was. Martin Luther's talking through the blazing Cincinnati.
CIA is the kingpin, the Don. The CIA is the kingpin, the Don, the kingpin, the Don, the Don, the kingpin.
Yeah, bro. What is Madism? By Hakim Green, featuring KRS-One, General Steele, off the Madism Who Want This Smoke album. Video by Turtle Gang Entertainment. Tracks by Breakbeat Lou. You know what it is. Madism. We're here today with Madism Sports. My co-host, Wes Henderson. I want to, before we get in, send a big shout out to my homie Brian Snell out there, who created this wonderful shirt for me. I want to just show it off right fast. You see, it's the Madism artwork from the single, what have you. Yeah, so just want to give y'all a look at that. Shout my man out, family. But yeah, Wes, we here, bro. So we need to recap last week. Where we at? I guess let's talk about the NBA right fast, just quickly before we get into the main topic. You think about that?
Oh yeah, I mean, recap last week. We had a nice spirited conversation about the all-decade team. So, we decided that Wilt was going to be that guy in the 60s. We decided that Kareem was going to be the 70s man.
Yeah.
The 80s was a Magic Johnson time.
Yeah.
The 90s, we talked about we had Mr. Michael Jordan.
Of course.
2000, we had a little debate, but we came down to Duncan and Kobe. But we went Kobe. Yeah. And then we decided that, it wasn't a decision. LeBron is the best from the 2010 going forward. So that was a nice spirited conversation. Other people got shout outs. We did discuss other cats out there that were really good players. But just in terms of transcendent for an entire 10-year period, I think we pretty much hit it spot on.
Yeah, I think we nailed it. I think the general consensus is that's the list. Yeah,
sure. That's the list. So I mean, we talked about we had the Super Bowl coming, so we can go right into it. We didn't really want to get into it last week, but we can get into it this week because is Super Bowl is that time. Right. Is that time? So Sunday is the big dance.
Right.
And I stayed away from the media day type stuff, the bulletin board material things. I have stayed away from that. But in general, just looking at the game, X's and O's, I do know that 2 offensive linemen on Kansas City are down and out, and one is healing. He's a game time decision. So that might be a factor somewhat, because if your line is off, it throws off the rhythm. Yeah. And to be honest with you, that game that they played in week 12, Tyreek Hill had 200 in the first quarter, whatever it was. He put up these crazy numbers early, but they took away Kelsey. So they said, you know what, Tyreek Hill's going to beat us, but we're not going to let the other guy beat us. And they were in that game. They still had a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. So I think something similar is probably going to they got to do the similar type thing to stay in the game. But I think they gotta punch his chance, man. They gotta punch his chance. And they got Brady. So
yeah. So just to your point about the defense, and Tampa Bay's defense is like really, really solid. And excuse me, to your point about Kansas City's missing offensive linemen, there's a left tackle and a right tackle. And anybody that knows about football in terms of the quarterback position, those are the 2 most important positions on the field for you. Absolutely. for your safety, right?
Your blind side and your front side.
That's your blind side and your front side. Now, luckily, my homeboy is his escapability is top notch. He's one of the best in the league at finding soft spots within the wall. The wall in terms of the front line, creating what they call a step up in the pocket. Right. So a pocket is supposed to form around you where your 2 tackles, your left tackle and your right tackle, kind of are the farthest points on the arc, which pushes the defense around you and the quarterback gets to step up in the pocket. Now, in terms of doing that, Patrick Mahomes is one of the best, stepping up in the pocket, finding a weak spot and then breaking. Right. So that's just, just for our viewership out there, what makes the Buccaneers so dangerous. And we talk about the Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady matchup. It's really those quarterbacks against the opposing defense.
Absolutely.
When you look at Tampa Bay and Dominican Sue, defensive tackle, he's probably
Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul.
So you got Jason Pierre-Paul at outside linebacker, and you got Shaq Barrett at outside linebacker. Now, if you're thinking about Kansas City with their offensive line defending for their quarterback, and we look at that pocket being formed, when you go JPP and Shaquille Barrett are like two of the best in the game at rushing.
And then Dominican Sue is one of the best interior linemen.
And Dominic, oh my God, so, like it's like when we talk about those 3 men alone for a not experienced offensive line, and what we mean by that is Kansas City's maybe playing with 2 second string,
2 possible 3. Yeah.
2 possible 3.
Yeah.
It can get real crazy for Patrick Mahomes on Sunday.
I mean, like I said, I know the money says Kansas City. I'm just gonna go Brady just because he's Brady. He's been there. This is number 10 here, 10 times visiting the Super Bowl, and he's had is a home game for Tampa. We've never seen a home team play in the Super Bowl. That's going to be interesting, especially in light of not having a lot of fans. That could be something that helps them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Mahomes not just his ability in the pocket, which makes him tough. He gets rid of the ball, man.
Yeah.
He gets rid of the ball. He doesn't take bad sacks. He just doesn't. He doesn't make a lot of like you see a lot of quarterbacks just make bonehead mistakes. He may fumble the rock or throw a bad pass every once in a while, get a tip pass, but those sacks that take you out of field goal range.
Yeah.
You just don't see him do stuff like that. You just don't see him make silly mistakes. You know, that's what I like about him the most. He's Aaron Rodgers-esque in terms of protecting the football.
Yeah.
He just takes more chances than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I really like Patrick Mahomes a lot. I really like him a lot. And the Kansas City defense is not, nothing to sneeze at. Excuse me. They have a really good, very good defense. So it's going to be a really tough game. There's a narrative that I want to discuss in terms of Tom Brady that I don't think gets discussed, at all. It hasn't been discussed at all. Recently, they touched on it, but I think it should have been something that was dealt with through the entire season, considering the circumstances. And that is him starting the season off with that MAGA hat in his locker, and how.
Oh, he had it in his locker this year.
Oh, he had it locked in this year. That was this year. No.
I'm asking you.
No. That was, I'm sorry, when
4 years ago.
Not 4 years ago when Trump
4 years ago. Yeah.
4 years ago when Trump campaigned. Now, seeing what's transpired over the last 4 years with this particular president, culminating on January 6th. Well, the culmination still hasn't happened. We're still watching it, go down. But up until January 6th, Tom Brady was never held into account for promoting a bad guy, promoting a bad person. I'm going to get to the racism. All right, we know, we got all that. But Donald Trump has proven to be just an incredibly bad person. And Tom Brady hasn't had to wear any of that weight. I don't know if it's fair for him to have, but I just noticed with other players, whether it's fair or not isn't the issue. You have to make very definitive stances outside of sports relative to your politics. And that's just interesting to me.
Yeah, well, and I don't disagree with the fact that he hasn't been asked the questions, right? But I guess for me, though I understand how it's different for the other players, and I think you're absolutely 100% right. A lot of people supported that 4 years ago, and we want one person, and none of them have really stepped forward. There's no one that really owns it. So, we could definitely harp on Tom Brady for it, but it was 4 years ago, and a lot of people were supporting Trump in that tax bracket. A lot of people that look like us as well, right? Outside of what we see in terms of the dog and pony show, we saw some of the hip hop people in the last campaign. But 4 years ago, there were quite a few celebrities that were going down that road. So I just look at it like Tom Brady. They ain't gonna say nothing to him. He's not Teflon. Somebody could ask the question, but they're just not gonna do it. They're just not gonna do it, man. Because it's 4 years ago as well. If he was something like now, if he would have came in Tampa with that same hat on, or still was campaigning in 2020, I would think it would have more legs. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people just tried to separate themselves from the 4 years ago and move forward. That's how I'm looking at it. But I don't disagree with you.
Right. So, moving forward, when we see African-American athletes or anybody other than white male financially well off, be put under pressure, be put on the defensive for their, appearance of support for other things. How do we defend against that? How do we shake that off? Because, for instance, LeBron with the whole China scenario just had to carry like 1,000 pounds of weight. And,
see, that was interesting, right? Because I'm here in Texas. I'll just leave it there, right? But I was approached with that question. What do I think about LeBron and his stance on China? First of all, I thought that was kind of funny because that's what the question you want to ask. You want to ask the one person in the office about LeBron and his stance in China. There's a lot of stances that I could ask questions on, but I just choose not to ask those questions. He clearly didn't want to touch that subject either, LeBron, right? He was quiet. He took heat for it. But to your point, he took heat for that, and they approached him on it, and a lot of people didn't want to let him live it down. And that's why I know where you're going with Tom Brady, and that's why I said I can't disagree. He should have to say something, even if he doesn't support it. We don't know what LeBron's stance was on China. I know his dollar signs were in jeopardy. So those questions you always got to follow the money.
Right, but follow the money, no doubt. But even his, I'm sorry, like his insertion into that issue was him defending really James Harden, right? And it was him defending James Harden. I saw it today where they lightly discussed it, and it was on ESPN, and they talked about how the league took a hit. Everybody took a hit on what's the faces, the GM for the Houston Rockets at the time, who's now with Philadelphia. Daryl Morey. Everybody took a hit, but LeBron is the one who has to carry the bag in the media.
He had to carry the bag.
He had to carry the bag.
Tom Brady.
That's what I want to say. LeBron's dollars are connected to other people's dollars. Like LeBron's dollars in China is Nike's dollars in China. LeBron dollars in China is the NBA's. Every avenue that has been opened.
See, basketball is not like football.
It's
not the same though. Basketball money and football money is a little different, right? Because there's more of a partnership. Even though you got your owners, these players, their endorsement deals are they're crazy. I mean, so when you look at that, the money is disseminated differently in basketball than it is in football. Football is protected by that one shield, right? So one player, they're going to protect the shield before they protect a player. So that's why Brady's not going to get the question, because it's more related to the NFL versus an individual, where basketball is more things go right to individuality and not the NBA in terms of the logo. It goes right to the player. The NFL is all about the shield, and they'll shield their players, especially Brady.
They will shield their interest.
Absolutely.
Because if it's
Brady's part of their money.
If it's
LeBron has his own money,
right?
But Brady is part of their money,
right? But they're not going to protect the Colin Kaepernick. That ain't going to happen.
Oh no.
Right. That delineation is strictly based on color of skin. Nothing else. Nothing else. And I know we're on the same page, but I just want to put that out there for the viewership to understand that there's context with everything.
Yeah, it's right there for us, but we try to have an intelligent conversation about it and not an angry one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we're bringing up points that are just right in your face. Without any, we're not arguing, we're not hostile. This is just things that are happening right there in front of us for us all to see. So it's a great point. But Brady's the golden boy right now, and so they're not gonna, like, I always pose a question about when it comes to the quarterback, right? We talk about this black and white thing, and you ever notice how Lamar Jackson was the MVP, but he's still doing like local regional commercials in Baltimore, but never has a commercial for nationally, and he's an MVP, and it's a reason for that, I can't tell a man how to come on TV to look, but that look doesn't sell. And I'm just, is a shame. He can't just be himself, but that's part of what it is. I mean, Mahomes has commercials. I mean, Dak has commercials. Aaron Rodgers has commercials. I mean, look how many commercials you got. Your man on Hulu, Baker Mayfield. He's all over TV. So it's not always about even being the MVP. You have to have a certain. Even Cam had commercials, and Cam is eccentric, but he had commercials. It's still going to be a point where some of these guys, if they really want to be the best, I'm not going to say the best they can be, but if they really want to maximize their name brand, they might want to look at that.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. So we'll end that there, and we'll move on. But before we do, I want to again once again send a shout out to Outspoken Green. She's in the building. My cousin William Green, no relation, but all family from East Orange, no doubt. Garrett Johnson, Tyrone Hughes, Yulan, and of course Derek Parks. Thanks for joining the family. And it's okay. Where we going next, brother?
I mean, we got some games tonight in the NBA. We can talk about them quickly.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
we got. I mean, first of all, we got the Jazz. They're playing the Atlanta Hawks. It's not like a marquee game, but you know the Jazz are playing real good ball right now. They number one in the West. They had a 10-game winning streak going at one point. So you know it warrants discussing. You know, because they're playing good ball. Anytime you have a 10-game winning streak, we got to talk about you. So they're playing Atlanta tonight in Atlanta. I remember there was a time when I didn't look at the point spread. I have to ask Uncle Spliffy about this one. But what the line is on the Jazz Hawks game, because typically back in the day when visitors came to Atlanta, you could wrap that up as a L. Especially if they played on a Sunday afternoon game. Atlanta, Miami, visiting team always take the home team.
Because it's party time.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing out there these days. Yeah, that should be interesting. But and you got the Lakers playing the Nuggets tonight. Rematch of the Western Conference Finals. That should be a good game.
Yes, sir.
So, and the Lakers are coming back home from that 7-game East Coast road trip. So that should be interesting.
Well, let me just, before you move on, what's interesting to me is that there's only really a game separating the 1, 2, 3 spot in the West.
Yeah, in the West. Yeah.
Jazz, Clippers, Lakers are 1, 2, 3, and if they're half a game apart.
Let me ask you: Did you ever catch? Did you catch any of the Clippers Brooklyn game?
I caught some highlights today, and I just want to say that Brooklyn's looking nice, bro.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. But when one person has 39 and another person has 29 and another person has a triple-double with 23, 14, and 12, that's a problem.
That's a problem. And, we talk about Brooklyn's defense. Now, we just went to the East Coast. We talk about Brooklyn's defense and lack thereof. However, offense can be defense. If I could just outshoot you, you can't put up points. And okay, any one of the three have an off night. So like
well, I saw some of that game, right? And what it boils down to is that if you have two guys, they both got to show up. They got Kawhi and Paul George, and they had good games too. But it just wasn't enough.
It just wasn't
enough. You can't. The only thing I give the Lakers some credit because they're playing the best defense in the NBA.
Yes, they have the number one defense in the NBA.
They could score the ball and they can keep you in the game just by playing defense. They can get some stops, even if they're not shooting the ball well. They can get some stops.
They can get some stops, but. AD has got to show up every single night against a Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, he just has to. He can't. You can't. And I just don't think that AD has gotten to that point where he's LeBron prior to Miami right now.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Even with the chip, he just doesn't give me that alpha male. Give me the rock. Stop fucking around. It's more like, all right, what y'all need me to do? All right, I need me to go on the post. All right, I'd rather be out here. I'm
with you. I can't disagree.
Yeah,
but I mean, so the NBA, like I said, the NBA they have the Warriors playing the Mavs tonight, and the Mavs, they're still talking about Luka as the MVP or close in the top 3, and I'm like, how you gonna be 11 or 12 seed and be the MVP?
Yeah, I want to definitely kill that talk. Like, your play has to translate into team wins.
Yeah, I mean, and he's nice. Sport. I'm not trying to diss him or nothing like that. He's nice.
No, but I'm sorry. I hate to point out the glaring. But again, we tend to give certain players a pass, and you have the great white hope syndrome.
He's European. He don't really count.
It's like no doubt, like the boy is nice, man.
Yeah, he can play. There's no doubt he can play.
Luka is nasty.
Yeah, he can play basketball.
Let's see it happen over some time. No, let's see it happen over time. Let's see it happen over time. And let it translate into wins.
in the championships.
Right, because Paul George doesn't get that luxury.
No, and he's
neither
nice.
And neither does James Harden.
And he's nice.
Neither did Kevin Durant.
Just as nice.
No,
so all these people
are better, actually.
Well, when you say it like that, that's a perfect segue into what we really want to get down with, and that's that coaching thing, because, we wanted to talk about it's Black History Month first off, and out of respect for Black History Month, we wanted to just talk about the coaches, and we've touched on coaches briefly in the past few weeks, but this one is going to be a little not different, but we're going to just try to bring some more light to what greatness should be considered in terms of the Black coach. And, like when I always kind of start with college basketball, to me is where you really find it, because the last 3 decades, I'm talking the last at least 30 years, Black athletes have dominated college basketball.
Yes, without a doubt.
Okay.
No question asked.
So if Black athletes are dominating college basketball, why is it that we don't have any coaches? So I said, okay, let me just look into this as of right now. So we have 14 Black coaches in the 5 major conferences, and that's the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the Big 10. So my thing is the 7. Now, guess what though? There's 7 female and 7 male. That's the 14. So on the women's side of basketball, we have 7, and on the men's side, we have 7. Wow. The Big 10 and the Pac-12 right now for college basketball have 0 for men's college basketball. The Big 10 and the Pac-12, 0, right?
This is disgusting.
The ACC and the Big 12 have 5 combined.
Disgusting.
Right? And this SEC has 2.
It's
right?
Disgusting.
So these are 7 males in the NCAA, mid-major included.
Right.
7 Black coaches. Come on, that's ridiculous, right?
Okay. So before you go on, I need to make one point.
Yeah.
It was said this year, because of COVID and lockdown, college lost over $1 billion in revenue. College sports, NCAA athletics.
The tournament. The NCAA tournament last year, they lost over $1 billion from the tournament alone last year.
$1 billion. So Black bodies, Black men, Black and brown men and women are generating billions of dollars and paying for all the other athletic programs that are going on. So all the equestrian, swimming, golf, all those sports that we don't.
They get paid they get paid on the backs of these guys.
They get paid on the backs of basketball and football players at the college level. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
that's one to make that point. So as we have this conversation, we realize that like our talent, our ability to go within ourselves, to be creative, to whatever, football, basketball, professional sports, the power, the time, the sacrifice, the investment, all this stuff goes into this thing, and we're not managing it. We're not at the faucet going on off. There's somebody else at the faucet of our shit going on off, on off, on off. Too much, too little. Don't taste right. That we're not doing that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is,
our resource. Somebody else is at the tap.
But then at the tap, who's at the tap? And listen, I like coaches, right? Like I'm a Coach K fan, right? I like what he does at Duke, right? So Soupy in the house today. What up, Sean? How you doing, man? But I like him. But at the end of the day, Mike Krzyzewski, Tom Izzo, John Calipari, guys like that, they know that they've built generational wealth themselves off of these same college athletes.
That's right.
They've built generational wealth. Generational wealth off these athletes.
These gentlemen, their salaries are they have tens of millions. They're making like $6-7 million a year.
Yeah,
3, 4, 5 million.
and they don't. I mean, they
10,
have
15,
a lot of
20
they
year
get a lot of
lifetime
perks.
contracts. Like
Lifetime. They have nothing to worry about. You know, Nick Saban, same exact thing. Dabo Sweeney in football, those guys are living off the backs of these athletes, and they're creating generational wealth. And who's to say that these players are going to be able to create that same generational wealth the way they've done? So, but historically, the coaches that like at college basketball, I want to talk about, you know, John Thompson, John Chaney.
Yeah.
We want to talk about my man Nolan Richardson, and you figure George Raveling, right? Those are the 4 college coaches that were around when we were growing up. And, you know, John Thompson, for instance, he had a 71% winning percentage. He won over 500 games, 71% winning percentage as a college coach at Georgetown. And he wasn't getting the top talent. He was getting the top regional guys that he kind of watched and may have some trouble at home. Not troubled kids, just had some tough upbringing. And he took them under his wing, and he made men out of them and champions at the same time. I remember he got interviewed, and a lot of people didn't like John Thompson because, you know, John Thompson was also part of the civil rights. He played NBA basketball with he played I think he played for the Celtics at one point.
I think he played for
in his college, his pro career. And he was part of the civil rights era too. And someone asked him, they said, well, you only have black players on your team. And he simply said, well, you give me some good white ones and I'll put them on my team. And of course that doesn't go over well. But in the Big East at the time, he was really pretty much the Big East. Georgetown was the Big East. Georgetown, St. John's, that was the Big East. Nolan Richardson.
John Thompson played for the Boston Celtics, won an NBA championship. Yeah, won an NBA championship both seasons he played. Yep.
Good. So you know, he's a champion. And he won an NCAA championship as well. But my point is he was a 71% winning coach in his history, which makes him great, right? Do we celebrate him with that greatness? Maybe not as much as we should. Then we have Nolan Richardson. Nolan Richardson coached Arkansas. He won over 500 games. Arkansas was a juggernaut in college basketball, 40 minutes of hell.
Yeah.
And I think in 04-05, he might have made a comment about some type of race relations in Arkansas. And he has since been coaching the Mexican national team. Yeah. He can't even get another D1 job, and he still coaches. He just can't get a job.
NCAA champion.
But he also had a 71% win percentage, right? Then we got John Chaney. John Chaney, not only did he won 69% of his games, but he won 741 of his games. He got that Temple job at the age of 50. Okay, so he wasn't a spring chicken when he got that job. You know, so when you look him up on Google, the thing that I hate most about how they tried to play out John Chaney is that when you look him up, they talk about his interaction with Calipari when he said, "I'm gonna kill you," right? Well, let me tell you a little something about John Chaney. John Chaney, whatever made him say that, trust me, Calipari caused it. When I say that with utmost confidence, that Calipari caused that man to do that. Yeah. He struggled during the civil rights. He knows what it's like with racism. There were much worse things that could have happened to John Chaney. For him to snap on John Calipari that day, John Calipari said the wrong thing, and he acted innocent as if he didn't do anything. Yeah. And that's how his legacy ended. Him saying, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." And that was so far away from who that man was. Right. You know, Aaron McKee gives him credit for him not only being a pro, but also being the best dad he could be. Eddie Jones speaks highly of him. I mean, we're talking Temple was a top tier team with, again, getting regional talent. They didn't get the top flight guys to go to Kentucky and Duke and all that. They got just guys that these guys just recruited, but they were making men out of them. And I guess the best part about Chaney is that he never told us what Calipari did. He just let it go because he was the bigger person, and he became respectful with him. And they actually, look at my man Derek Parks is dabbing me up right here because he's saying Chaney and Calipari wound up being best friends, but that's because of Don Chaney. John Chaney. That was the reason. So he was just a great leader of men. And when you look at all these college athletes, we have plenty of men that can do what John Chaney and John Thompson and Nolan Richardson did. Even George Raveling. George Raveling was on the West Coast. He didn't have the same success. He was like he won like 54% of his games at USC, and other places, but he still was a legend in terms of black coaches because, you know, he was there and he was still winning. And that's the key. Like right now, the only coach we have, the top coaches are probably Leonard Hamilton at Florida State right now. He's probably the guy that you would probably see as the senior black guy in college basketball at this moment. I mean, Johnny Dawkins is coaching right now, but it used to kill me even with Johnny Dawkins. He would sit next to Coach K all those years, and you watch Wojciechowski and Chris Collins and all these guys get jobs before Johnny Dawkins. Yeah. Johnny Dawkins graduated college in like 85.
45, something like that.
He's been on that bench forever, and he finally got a job like 2-3 years ago. So it was like all those other guys coming out of college, and they're sitting on next to Coach K, and they're getting jobs right away. So, you know, those are all these guys that have paved the way at the college level and don't get the due credit.
Right.
And then you look at pro sports, and you got the three guys that I thought about now, each sport, you got Tony Dungy, you got Casey Jones, and you got Cito Gaston, baseball, basketball, and football, right? Casey Jones just passed away recently. We never talk about Casey Jones is in the finals every year.
Every year.
Never talk about Casey Jones.
Yeah, again, another player turned coach, champion as a player.
And a coach.
Takes over the reins of the team that he coached these guys to championships. You know, we look at Bird. He
doesn't get credit for taking those championships that he had with Larry Bird. No. He was coached by Casey Jones.
You know, we don't look at him the same way we look at Pat Riley. We don't look at him the same way we look at Phil Jackson. We just don't.
Phil Jackson gets all that credit. He had the same type of talent, but Casey Jones was in those finals.
Yeah.
Every year in the 80s. 6, 7 times. Casey Jones was right there, deciding who's going to win the championship.
Yeah. That's
so.
Real. The way it's framed is as if Casey Jones was just riding on the coattails of Larry Bird.
Of Larry Bird, yeah.
That's how I feel.
That's the same thing that goes with Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy. Now, as far as I remember, Tony Dungy had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, went through all the wars with them, kind of similar to Mark Jackson, right? But his problem was he had Trent Dilfer being his quarterback. So every year he would lose because Trent Dilfer was a loser. Period.
Yeah.
And he lost every year because of that quarterback. Then he leaves and Gruden gets a new quarterback and wins with his Tony Dungy's whole defense and most of his team.
Brad Johnson.
Now, Gruden gets credit for winning that championship, not Tony Dungy, right? Because he left. So that was his Tony Dungy's team. But when Jimmy left Dallas, Switzer won, but they still gave the credit to Jimmy because it was Jimmy's team, right? Jimmy did the build. Jimmy built that team. So looked at it differently. Then he goes to Indianapolis, right? Wow. He wins a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, who, by the way, had a horrible Super Bowl. Let's call it what it was. Played awful in that Super Bowl against Chicago. It was a rainy Super Bowl. Rex Grossman was the quarterback of the other team. That's why Peyton Manning had that opportunity to win.
Yeah, right. Because you had
no choice.
A subpar quarterback with the Bears.
Yeah, subpar.
No doubt. Yeah.
And they said that Tony Dungy won because of Peyton Manning. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
That's how they do. I want to that Tampa Bay point. It's interesting because I heard a discussion today about Brad Johnson and John Gruden and how they argue all the time. Yeah. How Brad Johnson was like, you're not going to tell me how to play quarterback. Like, I know how to play this shit. I know how to do this. Like, they butt heads all the time because John Gruden was really running somebody else's system that he actually didn't know. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I don't think Brad was there when Brad wasn't there when Dungy was there.
No. Brad came in with Gruden. Gruden. And Gruden is still living off his championship. Gruden is still living off that championship, right? So, it's real interesting. And then I mentioned Cito Gaston, and he only won a championship with the Toronto Blue Jays, but we act like that didn't happen either.
Yeah.
And
How many World Series championships have the Toronto Blue Jays won?
I don't think it was more than that one with Joe Carter. But they were really good for his 5-year tenure. Toronto was a top tier team for that 5 years with Cito Gaston at the helm. And again, people forget, like, we always celebrating, the Tommy Lasordas and everybody like that. But Cito Gaston was something to be reckoned with as well. So that's kind of how it pans out.
And what's my guy that was in Texas Rangers that has some issues, but still managed to manage the Texans to a World Series? The black coach.
Oh, Ron Washington.
Ron Washington, thank you.
Yeah. He's another one that just couldn't get over the hurdle. But there's a lot of guys that can't win the big dance, but they're still good managers, and people play for Ron Washington.
Yeah. So he didn't win one. I thought he got one.
No, he didn't. He got there. He never got one. No.
One.
And I mean, now we got, and thank you, Derek Parks. We got Dusty Baker. I was against him having the Houston job, but at the time I didn't like it because I felt like they just grabbed Dusty Baker, because people don't like Dusty, but Dusty's a great manager as well. Dusty's a player's manager, and Dusty just gets it, and he just gets it. He's another leader of men. So there's a lot of guys that can actually do the job. There's a lot of people that just won't give them the job. And when you're talking about pro versus college, there's a different scenario, right? So pros, we're dealing with owners, right? College, you're dealing with ADs. So the AD doesn't own the university. The AD owns the network. So the AD is always going to put his people in play. And he's not the owner of the team. The boosters own the team. One of the alumni that pay into that bring that give those players the money that they get, so-called whatever. They own the team. But the ADs, they give the job to the people they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's good old boys network. Like you said, they don't own the university, they own the network in terms of the folks who are in that circle. Like they have the contacts, they know who's who, they have the ability to point out who the players are, who their parents are, coaches are. They have the ability to do that, but then there's a level of, we keep giving it away. We keep, what's the young man who What's the young man who decided to go to Howard? The basketball player who decided to go to Howard University.
Oh yeah, he's a big guy. I forgot what his name is, but he's a big fellow. Yeah,
I mean, it takes those types of actions where we say, you know what, forget what they're doing. This is what we're doing. And I may take the short on the micro end, but on the macro end, it'll mean much more for everybody. Well,
Deion Sanders is going to change the landscape right now because Deion Sanders gets it too. And his son can go to any college in around the country, and he's going to Jackson State. So, and let me tell you this: we talked about our age earlier, right? I'm not a boy dad, but I can tell you, any father that looks like us that has a son that's playing college football, I don't know if Lane Kiffin comes in your living room or Deion Sanders, you gonna say yes, you gonna tell your son you playing for prime. Period. Period. That's it. I don't know a dad that looks like me that's gonna say you're playing for Lane Kiffin in that state and not prime.
Not happening. All right, so
not happening.
Before we move, big shout out to Eddie Robinson, the late great Eddie Robinson, rest in peace.
Absolutely.
From Grambling. We talk about the black college circuit and that being a feeder to the NFL. So many NFL greats come out of black college football. How do we get more attention there, which will hope, maybe shift advertising dollars and, because that's what drives this whole thing is money. And if we can,
what the players don't realize is the advertisement will follow them. Right. So McCord Maker, we're gonna get Derek Parks gonna be a guest because he's pulling out the names because McCord Maker is that guy, right? So McCord Maker
just
might be recruited by
D Parks and I have already discussed him being a guest on the show. So
absolutely. Well, but McCord Maker, if he has a deal with Nike, Nike doesn't care what school he goes to. Nike wants McCord Maker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he goes to Howard, his teammates and the school, they all benefit. They win. That's pretty much how it works. The player controls that, not the team. They try to act like it's the name on the front. It's the name on the back that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of these players need to understand that if we can get some of these guys to do what the Fab Five did and get 5 of the baddest freshmen around the country to go to a black college, they're gonna be seen on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get the sneaker deals. They're gonna get all of that because
now you're getting the look from social media.
You can do that yourself.
The World Star.
Doesn't make a difference now.
Yeah, we can shine a light on these standout athletes in their amateur careers. So the average, the sponsors are looking at them from day one. They got the pros looking at from day one, and then we can more take the power out of these, slanted ADs and slanted white.
I mean, you got to get them out. You got to get them out of those positions because that's the only way. But the real thing is parents have to understand their power too. We can't just keep letting these men come in our living rooms and promising these kids the world when they could do this. They could take their powers right to HBCU and do exactly the same thing and put them on the map. And I guess the craziest part for me about it all is that why don't we tell our children they didn't want you in their university?
Because
they initially didn't want you there.
No, because they caused a division between black men and women coming out of the late 60s, early 70s.
Absolutely. Right? We know what it is. I'm just saying.
They pulled a man out of the house who's there to negotiate and protect the resource, but we don't look at it as we are the resource. We're the creative energy for all this shit, from music to sports and athletics, entertainment. Everything is really, black and brown creativity driving things. And, we have to look at just how impactful we are to society at large. And we start hearing the billions of dollars that we generate for the NCAA, which is supposed to be amateur athletics. How is it amateur athletics if somebody's making millions of dollars? That means it's not amateur sport. How can the players be amateur, but the coach be professional?
Yeah, it's so corrupt because, like, even you think about some of the situations that have come out of college football or college basketball and people being suspended or losing. Like, think about a guy like Des Bryant. He had lunch with Deion Sanders and was scared, and so he said, "No, I didn't." So they took away 9 games from the brother. AJ Green gave away a jersey, one of his jerseys. He lost like a couple of games. I mean, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yet Peyton Manning, they always talk about how Peyton Manning has lunch with all these quarterbacks, these young boys, but that's okay. Like, what's the difference? Is you can't have lunch? Is having lunch with Deion different than having lunch with Peyton Manning? Well, it's still a pro, right?
Because of the
we know, but I mean, but they're taking away games from people, and that's livelihood, and that's money.
Yeah, they're punishing you.
That's just terrible.
Slave.
It's ridiculous.
That's how they punish you.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning and John Gruden,
absolutely,
Monroe, Sam Jones,
and John Gruden, absolutely. Peyton Manning and John Gruden, they get a hold of these kids and they have these little camps and stuff like that. But that's not tampering. But having lunch with Deion Sanders is tampering. How about you having lunch with somebody you can relate to? Maybe is that a problem?
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. That is the problem.
Exactly.
That is the problem.
But,
so listen.
Yeah, it's all sad because we got all these great names out there. People should know. And I do want to bring up. I saw a hit with Penny Hardaway. He is doing big things in Memphis. And God bless that brother because he is doing some big things in Memphis.
Beautiful things.
And I have a few friends that have their kids on the circuit right now and have mentioned that Penny Hardaway is doing it. He's grinding, doing it. He's not. He doesn't have people doing it for him. He's doing the legwork. He's in those living rooms. He's in the gym with these kids. He doesn't have people doing it for him. He's actually doing the work. So kudos to Penny Hardaway for making it happen down in Memphis because we need more. We need more of that anyway.
Yeah, we discussed.
Let's look at and then, let's call it what it is right now. Like again, look at Steve Kerr. He's still got 2 All-Stars on his squad, 2 All-Stars and a future Hall of Famer. He's a 500 coach. 500. That's what he is. He just had the right talent around him, and I get it. It's okay. But he's not Popovich. I asked somebody this question not long ago. If you take Popovich out the mix in the NBA, who are the top 3 coaches in the NBA? Who's the next best coach in the NBA after Pop?
Doc Rivers.
I mean, think about that. Huh?
No,
you said Doc Rivers?
I'll say Doc Rivers.
I would say Eric Spoelstra.
Okay.
That's where I would go next. And it's debatable, but it's not an easy question to answer because a lot of these guys are Rick Carlisle, Doc Rivers, this guy Steve Kerr. I mean, even Steve Nash. We know Mike D'Antoni's coaching the team. That's why they don't play defense. So you just can't. You could. I mean, so it's just all these guys that are they really good?
Well, when you look at what Silas is doing in Houston.
I mean, yeah, James Harden left, and now Steven Silas got a squad balling for him.
They got a squad. They got one of the best defensive teams in the league.
One of the best defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah, and John Wall is looking incredible right now.
John Wall looks good. Boogie Cousins is playing well. Oladipo's playing well. Christian Wood is playing well.
I really like Oladipo. I've always liked Oladipo's game.
They got a good squad.
They got a good squad.
They're being led by a good man. So yeah, there's a lot of good guys out there. We just have to give them a chance. And let them have the same type of staying power as some of these other guys get, and I think we'll be fine. But to have as many athletes as we have in these sports and to have the representation from the coaches level that we have is absolutely ludicrous because all the message is being sent that they don't think that black men can lead black men. Yeah. Well, excuse me, they don't want black men to lead black men.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's just it's disgusting, inexcusable. Like they tried. Oh well, it's just not enough African American coaches in the lower positions working their way out. Like that's stupid. You can't tell me that there aren't thousands of African American coaches across this country in the 3 major sports with the level of knowledge to coach professionally. Yeah. You can't tell me there's not more than the 14 in college sports. Not gonna get.
Now we looking at the comments here, and we got brothers bigging up brothers, and I get soupy talk about Quinn Snyder. I mean, can the brother get a witness, please? I mean, Quinn Snyder can coach. We're not doubting he can coach, but I mean, leave that alone. Quinn Snyder.
Like I'm gonna judge Quinn Snyder just like I judge any other coach. How many chips he got?
Yeah.
All right, then what are we talking about?
They balling. They play ball every year, but
my man Dwayne Casey got the Toronto Raptors to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then got moved around because he couldn't make adjustments. How many years was he in Toronto?
You want to talk about adjustments? The coach on Milwaukee, Budenholzer. He doesn't make adjustments.
No,
but he still has a job. Actually, he had Atlanta. He didn't make adjustments in Atlanta. He got a Milwaukee job. So the only adjustment he had to make was an adjustment to his zip code.
Yeah, that's it. Moving. Yo, what company we using this time, Ma? I'm saying. That's it. But listen, because it's getting late. We at 7:59 right now. We got Cliffy in the chat. How about we bring him in, wrap this conversation up, all right, and then get to the handicap.
That's right. Let's do it.
Splifton.
Yes.
The Zatch Master.
Ziggy Zatch.
What's up? So we having this conversation about African American coaches and the lack thereof in sports, amateur, college, collegiate, and professional. And we just want some of your input. What do you think, is the problem? What do you have any suggestions of how we could maybe angle this? And
well, the problem is clear. It's a long-standing history of nepotism and good old boy network. And, it's just, these jobs go from, one to the other. And it's clearly leaving out the brown and the black coaches out there that put in the time that can clearly do the job. I mean, it's shameful because you look at a sport like football and basketball, where it's predominantly black. And who's coaching? Who has all 90% of the head coaching gigs? It's obviously white coaches. Who's bringing up these coaches in the lower levels, the ranks, and offering them jobs? Their fellow, colleagues, white boys. But if you look at particularly Kansas City, isn't his whole staff black?
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. But then you got the enemy
in Kansas City, and Andy Reid has a history of being extremely fair. Andy Reid does, just in fairness.
Yes, and then you look at just the normal practice of hiring practices, whereas a shining star like an Eric Bieniemy, because of the fact that he has success through the playoffs, by the time his team is done, all the jobs are done. All the jobs are taken. So again, there really has to be a concerted effort to level the playing field. Now, a lot of these talking heads are talking about the fact that, since the Rooney Rule, which, what was it, 16 years ago, and there was 3 black coaches. Mm-hmm. Now, what is it this year? 3 black coaches? So has it been successful? Absolutely not. They're talking about incentivizing these owners for hiring black coaches. Well, how can you incentivize them? There has to be some type of mandate. There has to be things in place to make all the playing field level and give these young, talented black coaches an opportunity.
I agree. I mean, the Rudy Rule I thought was disgusting, actually, because it's like a dog and pony show. People just getting invited in to show face, and that's it. I mean, speaking of the Rooney Rule, I mean, the Houston Texans hired a search firm to hire a GM and a coach. And apparently the Texans were given information by that search firm, and the search firm indicated that Louis Riddick, who's on ESPN as an analyst, would be the best candidate for a GM, and Eric Bieniemy would be the best candidate to coach. And they didn't approach either one. So they hired an agency to do a job. The agency did the job, and the Houston Texans still decided that those two wouldn't be a good combination, even though that's what the agency said would be the best fit for their team. So what do you do about that?
Yeah, and I heard the bigger story was the fact that they initially tried to consult with Watson prior to that. And then once all the information and the data came back, they didn't even consult him with the recommendation. They just put it out there. It's all malarkey. It's all malarkey.
And then they bring in a new guy, and I want him to be successful, right? But he's expendable. And they can always say we hired someone, see we did, and he's expendable. But he did a good thing. He brought in Lovie Smith, and he's got a couple other African-American assistants on his staff that he announced just recently. So he said he's going to go down. He's going to go down with his staff. So I like what he's doing around himself. So he might be okay. But I think the relationship with him and with him and Deshaun is not his fault. Whatever relationship they have is not going to be his fault. Deshaun is mature enough to play for the man, but I don't think Deshaun wants to even go down that road.
Yeah, but it's crazy. That's a horrible position to be in, because it's like the James Harden thing, except in reverse. In that Deshaun Watson has given his all, has done everything he could, has made the sacrifices, has bent over backwards you know, has been a team player. You know what I mean? In all
Deshaun
facets
Watson, to me, has done more than everything. Deshaun Watson threw for 800 yards against the best football team in the country in 2 years, in a 2-year span, and won a national championship. And they still took him 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. The person that got drafted by Chicago, Mitchell Trubisky, played 13 college games, 13 games total. And Deshaun did all that, and they still said he couldn't do it in the NFL. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? So it's just tough. We could just go on and on with these scenarios that are just in our faces, you know.
Yeah, Park just brought up Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, I mean Byron Leftwich was being carried. Remember they were carrying him to the shotgun position. He had broke his leg in the game, and they picked him up and carried him to the next step in a bowl game. Really?
Yeah.
And he's still being effective.
Now,
Come on, man.
But now he's he's down in Tampa.
He's doing his thing in Tampa.
He's doing his thing in Tampa. He's doing his thing in Tampa, and it's it's another person who deserves a solid look. You know,
a solid look.
When you look at what Arians has done in Tampa Bay, it's just hats off to him. Because we talked about this last week, like that. You know, when you get allies in position to build bridges, and they do that, you have to applaud it and salute the Arians for hiring an all African American, but Black and brown and female staff. He made it a point to put women on his staff. Beautiful.
But what Arians is doing is what the problem is. And there was a brother that was talking about people have to stop saying this is not who we are as a country. Yes, it is. Bruce Arians is doing something about that. That's what the Coach K's and the Caliparis need to start saying. Hey, I built a legacy off of other people, and it's time we start bringing some other people along. They need to say that without thinking they're going to lose something. They're not going to lose anything. That's what Bruce Arians is showing you. Bruce Arians is saying, I'm going to bring the best people that have qualified for the job to fit with me, and we're going to still be successful. And he hasn't lost. He's not being blackballed. He spoke the truth, and he's just being truthful. That's it.
And he's in the Super Bowl right now, along with Andy Reid, who has Eric Bieniemy as his offensive coordinator, and we see the excellence there. It's just ownership and management falling in line to be like, you know what, it would behoove us if we want to be successful. Look at the trend. Look what's happening in front of you. The trend is that African Americans and Black and brown and women and we are excelling.
Communication.
It's about
communication.
About getting that opportunity, and again, if as Black coaches you're not getting that opportunity to shine and to do what they know we can do, then we're not going to be in that position. And we all know what it is. They don't want to give us that opportunity. I mean, the more opportunities we get, the more we take advantage of the opportunity. So the more chances we get, then what? Then now we're gonna overrun the sport with the all Black coaches. Like now it's all Black quarterbacks. Remember we couldn't play quarterback? Remember that? So now it's all Black quarterback. I mean, we know what it is.
I always say that about golf. I always laugh about golf because all you gotta do is let us on the golf course, and we'll take care of the rest. Just let us play. I mean, you can hide, you can keep hiding all you want, but just let us play.
Listen, I was the first Black golfer to letter at my school, so I know what that's about. Okay, and this is before Tiger Woods. Yeah, so we know what it's about. They don't want us out there. They just don't.
They don't want you out there. They don't want you out there.
In no regard.
Well, listen.
Cliff, everybody's a single handicap, right? Everybody's a single digit handicap in the corporate world.
Great transition, Wes. Great transition.
Yes.
So we want to get to the handicap. We got a big game coming up on Sunday. You threw out what it was last week, but of course Wes gave us the heads up. A lot changes in a week. We held off on our call, but Mr. Splifton Allen, the Zach Master, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I will tell you that nothing significantly has changed. The total went down a half a point, and the line remained the same. So right now, you're looking at Kansas City is favored by 3, a solid 3. It was 3.5, so that actually dipped down a half a point, and then the total is 56, and it was 56.5. So both of them pretty much stayed the same. And then again, the slight scare that we had with those 2 Kansas City Chiefs that were basically getting their hair cut, and the barber was tested positive. Those were the only 2 cats, luckily, that had to go into the COVID protocol, and they've tested negative ever since. Nobody else, so it looks like it'll be on pretty solid footing. Again, I told you this point spread as far as the money line bet. Again, if you just wanted to bet a winner or a loser, then you can bet Tampa Bay. That money line, because they're underdog, basically you bet 100, you win 145. And because Kansas City is the favorite, that 3 points that you'll be laying on a money line bet, it would be 160. So you basically have to bet 160 to win 100. But that's how that works as far as the betting now. As far as my handicapping of it, unfortunately, it's not going to change. I can't bet against Mahomes. I've been looking at this game from all different directions. And if you look at it player for player as far as a roster, Tampa Bay actually has the better roster. Player for player, Tampa Bay has the better roster. Tampa Bay has the GOAT. Tampa Bay is at home. Tampa Bay is getting 3 points. But I'm going with Kansas City. You know why? Because they got that bad boy Patrick Mahomes. And this is what I was thinking about. I was trying to figure out what would be the deciding factor of the game. And you know what I think it's all going to come down to? I think it's all going to come down to coaching. And I think it's going to be a pivotal point where Andy Reid is just going to make that. Because, again, while Tampa Bay has a better roster, Kansas City is the defending champs. And they have the most, they've been together. They've been playing together. They know each other. And I think they're probably have the least chance of making a bad play. A play that you're not really comfortable with, a play that because you're not really on the same page with your teammates. I think that cohesiveness with the Kansas City Chiefs is going to take them over the edge. I tell you this, Tampa Bay may not cover. I mean, Kansas City may not cover the 3 points, but I think they'll win the game.
You know what? I can't debate what you just said, Cliff. But I just been riding the goat train all the way here, so don't need me to get off the train now. So I was going to stay there, but I can't disagree. What you got, Hawk?
All right, so I'm really rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I'm really rooting for Patrick Mahomes. But I think the smart money's on Tom Brady to go. It's just something about this atmosphere, it being in Tampa Bay, it being number 7. 7 is the 7. And sometimes the narrative is what wins the day. So I'm gonna go with Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
In Tampa Bay.
Yeah. We all know why we want Mahomes to win. I know. Yeah, I mean, that's the underlying thing. But I just feel like it's set up for this man to win again. And I just can't crap on a man who's 43 years old in the Super Bowl. I just can't.
Yeah, it's I played high school football, not very well, but I played, and just to see that level of excellence, man, you got to be a bad boy to go to the Super Bowl 10 times.
Oh yeah, it's unprecedented. It's ridiculous.
Can we shout out Attica J. Torrance, because I'm thinking they're referring to Andy Reid. Yeah, and they're absolutely right.
I was debating on putting that up because Andy's a good guy. I don't want to put him.
Yeah, Andy's a good guy, but we know what happened, and that was just, two sons that were just. I just imagine if Tony Dungy's sons were in that type of situation, I don't think Tony would be seeing the field.
No,
that's just my opinion.
If you think about that right there, that's bigger than Michael Vick and dogs.
Yeah, especially with the. I mean, listen, the man.
Nah, I don't know about that, Hakim.
His name was on the lease.
His name was on the lease.
His name was just on the lease. That's what Michael Vick did. He bought the house. That was what he was guilty of, owning the home.
Right. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but he was engaged in a lot of the activity that was going on in that property, and you just got to think of the optics of it and the fact that, you know, in this nation there are just a lot of dog lovers. I mean, there are just a lot of, you know. So
I get that.
Yeah. All right. So I gotta find this story. Right. I'll find this story. It was the guy who ran the Iditarod, the whole dog did. Man, he was doing horrible stuff to the dogs after Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Good point too. Andy Reid owns the home his sons dealt the drugs out of.
Now, I personally, I think Andy Reid's a good person. I don't think
I do too.
I don't think he's on the
I absolutely think Andy Reid's a good guy.
I think he's a good guy, and
I do
he's
too.
been a very fair and equitable guy.
Absolutely,
you know, has a history of it outside of this. So I'm not holding this against him at all. Like I wouldn't hold dogfighting against Michael Vick.
Yeah.
And because of the circumstance of what is, and I love he shouldn't even went to jail. Yeah. If he would see what you do is you should have got the governor or somebody in somewhere likes that shit too, and you get them there. Yeah. Placing bets. It
was wrong. We all agree that it was wrong.
You know, I'm a dog lover. I'm not with that at all. Now, I'm not with that at all. I'm a dog. I love dogs. I'm not with that at all.
I have a dog. Love my dog.
I love dogs. I don't think Michael Vick should have went to jail.
No, I don't either.
No.
That's another story.
Yeah, he should have been punished.
Yes.
I don't think he should have went to jail.
No, not at all. No. But good deal, y'all.
Yeah, man. Great show once again. Yes, Madison TV, Madison Sports. I want to big up Derek Parks for sure, giving us, you know, some great info. Yulon, Attica, thanks for checking in with your boy. Sean, you know what I mean? Yo, what happened to Big A? He didn't show up this week. We got to check in on him, see what the word is.
We got to check in on him.
Yeah, man, I hope all is well with my guy. Outspoken, of course. Shout her out. Garrett, you know, my cousin William Green. What up, cuz? Yeah, we like to make this a family affair. Make sure everybody that participates is, you know, giving the salutations and love because we want to build this. So share the stream, subscribe to the channel, YouTube, like the page on Facebook, Madison.info, and we're going to be back at you next week. This is your boy Hakim, West Spliffington. We out of here.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.